you've ever felt like you're working harder than you should to make a relationship work or to even find the right kind of man, or struggling to feel like your 10+ year long marriage is thriving, then this video is for you. I'll be breaking down the feminine traits that make you magnetic to masculine men. That's the key. Not making you magnetic to any man, but to the right masculine man. And how to inspire the man that you're already with to lean more into his masculine side. And I'll be showing you how to align with them naturally by leaning into your own feminine energy. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll have the clarity and the tools to approach love and connection in a completely different way. Before we get started, I have a free resource for you that I know you're going to love. It's called Effortless Feminine Energy, 10 micro habits for softness and ease in 5 minutes or less. It's a cheat sheet that gives you 10 simple ways to bring more feminine energy into your day and life, no matter how busy life gets. You can grab it for free using the link down below in the description, so grab it now before you forget. It's such a game changer if you're looking to make little shifts that feel really, really good in your life. Today, we're diving into a hot topic that I know you're curious about. We're talking about the feminine traits that men love. And I'm not just going to be talking about relationships, because really, it's about fully embracing and celebrating the feminine energy that already exists within us. It already exists within you. And by the end of this video, you'll walk away with a really deep understanding of the feminine traits that naturally draw masculine men in or inspire it within the man that you're already with and committed to for life. And as always, we're keeping it real, actionable, and practical. But let me touch on that last bit really quickly again to reiterate it. There is so much advice out there on how to attract a masculine man or how to inspire the masculine energy of someone that you're dating. But what about you? You who might have a husband, a whole ass husband. This is the man, your man for life, whether he ever changes or not, whether he is currently as inherently masculine as you'd like him to be or not. Well, there's a lot to say here, but I'll start with this. No matter what your current dynamic is, you can change it because of the concept of polarity. The more aligned that you become with your own inherent feminine energy, the more aligned with his masculine energy that he must and will become. Again, because of the law of polarity. That is an extremely surface level, barely touches the surface explanation, but that's all that you really need to understand for the context of this video. But you really do need to grasp onto and understand this. The more that you lean into the feminine traits that men happen to love in this video, the more he will not only be obsessed with you, but the more inspired he will be to align deeper with his own masculine energy. And if this sounds like something that you are doing for him or traits that you need to adopt for his benefit, that is simply not true. That's not how we do things in this corner of the internet. Sure, the feminine traits that we're about to talk about and you becoming more deeply aligned with your own inherent feminine energy, as much as those things are beneficial and so deeply appreciated by masculine men, we don't do it for them. It's not the men who primarily benefit, it's us. We do it for us. We do it for ourselves and for our benefit and for our own alignment. We do it to live the version of life that finally feels right to us. So I hope that background helped. And if you want to learn more about becoming more aligned with your feminine energy, you can check out my 10-day feminine energy reset challenge that I've linked down in the description below, because that really is a more comprehensive plan for becoming realigned with your feminine energy. Because feminine energy for busy, high-achieving women is kind of my thing. It's kind of what I do. But do that in a new tab so you don't lose this video. Now we're jumping into the feminine traits that men love. And first, I want to set the tone here. When we talk about feminine traits that men love, this isn't about changing who you are or fitting into some sort of outdated mold for men. Again, it's about embracing your unique feminine essence. When you align with your natural feminine energy, you're not only enhancing your experience of life, but you're also creating a natural magnetism that masculine men find irresistible. So let's explore what that looks like. The first trait is self-assuredness and confidence in your femininity. There's nothing more magnetic than a woman who is completely unapologetic about her femininity. Confidence shows that you know your worth and that you're comfortable in your own skin. When you fully embrace your feminine traits, you invite a man to step confidently into his masculine energy. It's all about polarity, that natural chemistry that happens when masculine and feminine energies complement each other. Let's break this down. Many women end up operating in masculine energy because of past trauma or societal conditioning. So if that's been your experience, you're definitely not alone. But here's the thing. Staying disconnected from your feminine energy can leave you feeling unfulfilled, both personally and romantically. But the good news is you can totally shift this, and it's never too late, and your circumstances will not keep you from doing so. Or I should say, they don't have to. Of course, the more masculine demands that you have in your life, the slightly more difficult it's going to be to lean into your feminine energy because you just have those obstacles. But it is absolutely not impossible. No one likes a double negative. It is absolutely possible. And again, that's kind of my thing. I am a busy full-time working mom with a business, 2 young kids, a thriving marriage, all these things, all these obligations, for lack of a better word. I don't like to think of them as such, but for example, when you're mothering and caring for your children, as much as you love them and as much as you love it, just by the nature of caring for your children, it puts you in your masculine energy because you're pouring into them. You are doing. Logic, plan. So when you have things like a job or children or a business, you naturally have more masculine demands in your life. But I help you thrive in your feminine energy despite all those masculine demands. We start by creating space for the masculine energy to thrive within our men. And here's how you do it. Lean into your softer, more receptive side. For example, take a moment each day to affirm your worth, either with affirmations if that's your thing, or journaling, or just simply thinking about this mindfully. Or indulge in a wonderful self-care ritual that makes you feel radiant, like a luxurious skincare routine or a bubble bath that allows you to connect and prioritize yourself. These small acts can have a really profound effect on how you carry yourself and how others perceive you. Now let's talk about softness. Softness is not weakness. It's one of the most powerful traits of feminine energy. True softness is an irresistible combination of approachability, warmth, and openness. It's the way that others feel seen and heard and valued without judgment or defensiveness. Softness is not just about being passive or shrinking yourself, not at all. It's about creating a safe, inviting space where connection can flourish. And for masculine men, this kind of softness is especially magnetic because masculine energy thrives on and operates from a place of strength, decisiveness, logic, action, doing, and it naturally seeks that balance. And softness provides that balance, acting as a complement to their strength. It signals a willingness to receive, which makes men feel appreciated, powerful, respected, and inspired to protect and cherish the woman that embodies it. So how can you cultivate this kind of softness in your daily life? Well, you can start small with meaningful acts of kindness, like offering a genuine compliment to someone, smiling warmly at a stranger, or just simply giving someone your absolute full attention by listening without interrupting. How many of us are guilty of this? These simple gestures of warmth and gentleness, they don't just uplift others. They also help you shift into a softer, more open energy that can deepen your connections. And when you lead with this kind of softness, you'll notice how effortlessly it draws others closer to you, be it men, friends, anyone. And this creates relationships that feel more natural and balanced and fulfilling. Next up is the ability to relinquish control and allow yourself to be pursued. Because masculine energy is all about pursuing, initiating, and taking charge. So when you lean back and you actually allow a man to pursue you, it creates space for him to step fully into his masculine role. And trust me, that's where he thrives. And it's no coincidence that typically the most passion in a relationship happens when things are still a little up in the air, when he had to work to get you, your attention, your intimacy, your time, your heart, and your trust. So naturally, that fades over time because things get more secure. And of course, that's a beautiful thing. That's what we want. So don't get me wrong. And to be very clear, I will never ever give the advice of playing games or approaching things with any sort of manipulation or toxicity, because it's not about playing hard to get or making him jump through hoops for your attention now, especially if you're in a long-term committed relationship. So how do you do this now? How do you get your long-term committed partner to pursue you when both of you know that you're not going anywhere? You do it by prioritizing yourself and your own needs. You're not playing games or making yourself unavailable to like your life partner husband beyond reason. Again, we're not being toxic here, and we're definitely not becoming avoidant or distant. Not at all. That's not going to help anything, and it's not going to draw your husband closer to you. Rather, we're creating some space to put ourselves and our needs and desires and pleasures first. And the benefit is really twofold, because first, of course, you get all the obvious benefits that come from prioritizing yourself and your own desires and your own care and whatnot. But then you also create the opportunity for him to not only miss you a little bit, but realize that he has some competition. The competition being simply you, yourself. And that is what creates the opportunity for him to have to or get to pursue you again. And trust me, it's going to make both of you feel amazing. Instead of you always just being available to him, squeezing you in whenever you fit into his schedule of football Sunday, Monday night football, Saturday night UFC, Thursday night football, beers with his work buddies, whatever his passions and what takes up his time might be. He starts to notice that just because he happens to be free on Tuesday night, too bad. You've got yoga or dinner with the girls or self-care that you're committed to. Just because he expects you to be available to grab pizza on Saturday night, he learns that he doesn't always have that luxury because you've actually got your own non-negotiable plans with yourself. So instead, before he makes plans with his friends or fills all of his nights watching guys crash into each other, making touchdowns, beating each other up, whatever, he starts to feel the need to make sure that he's got some quality times on the books with his woman first. He starts pursuing you again. You become the pursued priority that everything else in his life may or may not fit around, rather than it being the other way around. Now let's talk about leaning back in the relationship. What does that mean? It's about being inviting and warm and present while giving him the room to take the lead. And honestly, if you've been in the place of jumping in and taking the lead on a lot of things in your relationship, this shift will feel like such a relief to not feel like you have to orchestrate everything that happens in your shared collective life. Because here's the thing, leaning back isn't about being disengaged or indifferent. It's about resisting the urge to micromanage your relationship and your joint life together, and instead focusing on being receptive and trusting. When you're already serious with a man, leaning back allows you to give him space to show up in his own way and express his love and leadership and commitment. It's not about testing him or pulling away. It's about creating room for his natural masculine energy to shine through. You're not sitting passively on the sidelines. You're actively observing, appreciating, and understanding how he operates as your partner. Leaning back gives you the chance to see how he takes initiative, how he handles challenges, and how he chooses to nurture you in your relationship. It's a way to deepen your connection, not by controlling the flow, but by allowing it to grow organically. When you resist the urge to steer every aspect of your relationship, you're giving both of you the freedom to show up authentically. You and your feminine energy, him and his masculine. And that's really where true intimacy, connection, and romantic satisfaction flourish for both of you. Now let's talk about the magic of letting him lead. Masculine men are hardwired to feel good when they're empowered to take the lead. It's not about dominance or control. It's about them stepping into their natural energy and taking initiative. And when you allow this dynamic to unfold, it doesn't just feel good to him. It creates a natural polarity that helps you become more aligned more deeply with your own feminine energy. And this doesn't mean that you have to silently nod at everything he says, because feminine energy is not about shrinking or suppressing your desires, not even a little bit. It's about trusting the process, expressing your needs with grace, and giving him the chance to rise to the occasion. And when you make space and give the opportunity for him to rise to the occasion, He will. You can stay true to yourself and your boundaries while still allowing room for his leadership to shine. After all, leaning back doesn't mean losing control. It's about creating a dynamic where both of you feel seen, valued, and thriving in your natural roles. And honestly, isn't it kind of nice to let someone else take the wheel a bit? Yes, of course it does. It just might feel a little bit foreign to you if your feminine energy is wounded and you've been operating in your masculine energy for too long. Now, one of my and men's favorite feminine energy traits is receptivity. It's a powerful and deeply transformative quality in any relationship. Receptivity is about being open to receiving love, care, compliments, and support without resistance or defensiveness. It's not about giving up your independence or pretending to be helpless. It's about allowing space for a man to show up for you. Healthy masculine men thrive on giving. Whether it's their time, effort, affection, or protection. When you can receive what he offers with grace, it creates a dynamic where his masculine energy feels seen, valued, and appreciated. Picture this. He brings you flowers, offers to carry something heavy, or tells you how beautiful you look. Instead of just brushing it off with, oh, you didn't have to, or, oh, I've got it, smile and pause, smile, and just simply say, thank you. Instead of brushing it off with, oh, you didn't have to, or I've got it, pause, smile, and say, thank you. That means so much. It makes me feel so good and well taken care of. How do you think that's going to make him feel? The simple act of receiving gracefully fuels his desire to give even more. Why? Because it reassures him that his efforts matter and that he can fulfill a meaningful role in your life. Masculine energy really craves and feeds off of having purpose, and giving to someone who genuinely receives creates a natural and strong sense of fulfillment for him. And at the same time, your feminine energy is nourished by the act of receiving. It feels amazing to be cared for, doesn't it? And here's the thing. The men in our lives want to give and for us to receive from them, be it things, safety, gestures, love, security, ease. But so often we get into our own way, and slowly over time we unknowingly discourage them from doing so by either flat out rejecting their offers and gestures or by not showing our appreciation. Allowing yourself to accept love and support helps you to feel cherished and safe, which in turn deepens your sense of softness and openness. And this balance of energy creates a magnetic and harmonious and passionate flow between you two. His giving fuels your receiving, and your receiving inspires his giving. It's a cycle that strengthens your connection and builds trust on both sides. I think of it as like an upward and outward spiral of growth, whatever the opposite of a vicious cycle is. And let me be clear. Receptivity isn't about tangible gifts or grand gestures. It can be, but it's definitely not just about that. It's about letting him contribute in ways that matter to him, whether that's sharing his ideas or taking the lead on a decision or offering emotional support when you're feeling vulnerable. When you let him step into his masculine energy in these ways, you're not only affirming his strengths, but you're also giving yourself permission to lean back and enjoy the gift of being loved and supported. And in those moments, you're both stepping into the fullness of your natural inherent energies, creating a relationship dynamic that feels both grounded and exciting. Now let's lighten things up a little bit and talk about playfulness. A lighthearted, playful energy is magnetic in a relationship because it offers a refreshing contrast to the structured, goal-oriented doing mindset that men naturally operate in. Men often carry the weight of responsibility, and playfulness provides a really much needed break, inviting them into a space of joy and connection that they get from you. It's like hitting pause on the seriousness of life to share laughter and light moments, which can really, really deepen your bond without any effort. It also encourages emotional intimacy because it creates a sense of comfort and ease between the two of you. When you tease him gently and lovingly about his quirks or laugh at your own clumsy moments, or suggest a spontaneous adventure, you're showing that you're happy and confident in the relationship. And these interactions create shared memories and inside jokes, keeping the relationship fresh and fun and exciting. Plus, when you can both laugh together, it reinforces a sense of partnership and fun and just brings a beautiful levity to life that we all need. And for us women, embracing playfulness is just as beneficial because it's a way to reconnect with your feminine energy and feel more joyful and carefree. And relationships, they can feel heavy when they're focused solely on solving problems or achieving goals. And of course, those things are so important and should never be neglected, but infusing a sense of fun keeps things light and reminds you why you both fell in love with each other and still like each other so much. Whether it's dancing in the kitchen or playfully challenging him to a silly game or cracking a silly joke, these moments invite spontaneity and they really deepen your connection in a way that feels natural and fulfilling. And here's a hot tip. Never, ever stop flirting with your partner because it's one of the easiest ways to keep playfulness alive in your relationship. Flirting adds an element of excitement and keeps the spark alive, reminding both of you that romance and attraction do not have to fade over time. I met my husband in high school and have so far spent more than half of our lives together, but because we flirt constantly, in general, of course, not every day is going to be a perfect flirty day, but in general, because we never let ourselves lose that and are intentional about flirting with each other, 17 years and a couple kids in, we are not only madly in love, but still genuinely giddy with excitement and joy for each other. A teasing smile, a cheeky comment, a playful or flat out sexy and clearly intentioned touch can reignite that feeling of newness and fun, even in the most long-term established relationships. Another highly magnetic feminine trait that cannot be ignored is intuition. Trusting your inner voice, being empathetic, and tuning into the needs of others are all hallmarks of feminine energy because men don't really have those gifts. Definitely not. They often rely on action-driven mindsets, and your intuition, it can bring a sense of balance and guidance to the relationship and even to him personally in regards to his own personal or professional challenges in his own life. When you trust your gut and share those intuitive insights with your partner, you're offering something truly valuable that they simply do not have. Your intuition can help diffuse tension or inspire new perspectives and even deepen your emotional bond together as a couple. Now let's touch on sensuality. Sensuality is not the same as sexuality. And now, don't get me wrong, of course, sexuality is very important to men too because, well, men are men, but that's not quite what we're talking about here. Sensuality is being in tune with your body and your senses, whether that means enjoying a delicious meal, wearing fabrics that feel really good, or moving with grace and intention. This type of presence and awareness creates an aura of confidence and allure that really captivates masculine men because your sensuality invites your partner into a shared experience of connection and pleasure, and that's just not an experience that they're really capable of cultivating on their own. When you fully embrace the moment, whether it's lingering in a warm hug or sharing a playful smile or savoring a quiet evening together with some scented candles and a delicious home-cooked meal, it encourages him to slow down and engage with you on a deeper level. And this mutual presence creates a really magnetic dynamic where your feminine softness draws him in closer and his masculine energy naturally rises to meet you. It's not just about physical attraction, it's about cultivating an atmosphere of intimacy and appreciation that strengthens your bond together. Now we're back with another heavy hitter: vulnerability and emotional strength. Sharing your fears and your dreams and your insecurities in a way that invites connection rather than seeking validation is so powerful. Vulnerability requires courage and it inspires trust and deeper emotional intimacy. And men are drawn to women who can regulate their emotions while also being open and authentic about them. Practicing emotional awareness not only improves your relationships, but it also helps you feel more grounded and confident in yourself. All right, now let's wrap this all up with a few actionable homework items so that way you can start applying these ideas to your life right away. Practice leaning back and letting someone else pursue or lead in a small way this week, whether it's your partner or even a friend or colleague offering to help. Commit to receiving one compliment or act of kindness without deflecting. Just say thank you and accept graciously and let it sink in. Add a playful moment to your day. It could be something as simple as laughing at a silly joke or doing something spontaneous, or stopping for a kitchen makeup session in the middle of the day. Take a moment to connect with your intuition. Spend 5 minutes journaling about what your inner voice is telling you, or just pause and think really mindfully on it. Try one act of sensuality. Maybe it's lighting a candle during dinner, or wearing something soft, or savoring your afternoon cup of tea slowly in front of the window. These small steps, sure they're small, but they really can help you to embody more of your feminine energy and create beautiful shifts in your own internal world, but also in your collective relationship. And before we go, don't forget to get my free cheat sheet down below, Effortless Feminine Energy, 10 micro habits for softness and ease in 5 minutes or less. The link is in the description below, and it's such a great way to start building these daily habits. If you found this video helpful, I know that you'll love this one, where we dive much deeper into creating that powerful, sexy, magnetic polarity in your relationship. I hope that you'll subscribe so I can see you next time, and until then, stay aligned.